Hey there guys, this is Trent, and today I'm going to be talking about Marksmanship Hunter in patch 6.2. It's a really fun spec, has a lot of hard-hitting abilities, big old crits, so it's pretty fun to play. It can be a little bit simple, but there are little things that if you don't do it right, it can affect your DPS pretty immensely. So, just to start off, I'm going to touch on a couple really big, kind of important things that usually apply to a lot of classes, a lot of specs, pretty much everything. The first thing is you really don't want to spend any time not casting spells. And basically, by this, I mean every time a spell stops casting, you start casting another, or right after the global cooldown, ends, you're casting your next spell. To do this, you kind of have to think a few steps ahead. And so that's why practice, like I'm about to do here, is really important because you get that feel for how the rotation is supposed to be running, and you can pick it up a lot easier when you're in fights, and you can think ahead and just overall better. So practice is always helpful to make sure you spend as much time casting spells and less time just running around or trying to handle mechanics as best you can. Um, the other thing I wanted to touch on is similarly, you definitely want to research the mechanics of fights. Think about, hey, when should I save this ability for? If there's a big AoE phase, make sure you have like barrage up for like the hands on Cormrock. Uh, Little things like that, just to know if you need, if something's coming up, you need to save it, then you know how to handle it. And when you're running around doing other mechanics, you're not focusing so much on the mechanics. You can also have, part of your brain doing your rotation as well. And the practice kind of intertwines with that because if you practice more, you get used to the rotation. You can cast it without even thinking about it, which is stellar. So yeah, I just want to touch on those couple things, and now I'm going to jump into the actual material. So to start off, I'm going to do the talents and glyphs. The first three tiers really don't matter that much. The first one can matter. I mean, it depends on the fight. You really just got to think about like the mechanics. Really, narrow escape is kind of useless. Maybe on Gorfine for the ads. I don't really think so. But Post Haste and Crunching Tiger Hidden Chimera are nice, just depending on the fight. So just think about the fight, think about which one you use. Second tier really doesn't matter. Third tier, Spirit Bond and Ironhawk are really, really effective. Spirit Bond usually just for fights that are, you spend a lot of time missing some health. You're not all the, most of the fight you're not topped off. But other than that, you probably should run Ironhawk because the passive 10% damage is really nice. But the last four talents are actually DPS contributing, and they are the ones that, like I said, are going to be pretty important compared to the other three. So at the 60 tier, uh, really for marksmanship, these two right here are practically useless. Thrill of the Hunt is going to be the one that you're going to be going to, simply because a 30 focus cost aim shot is amazing, especially when you're using rapid fire and the crit is crazy and you can spam it more. So definitely want to use that. Uh, Really, I don't think there's any situation you want to use the other ones. For the next year, Stampede is going to be your go-to. It's simply just a ton of damage, really good burst. All your pets are running around, hitting things. It's great. But a Murder of Crows does have a place, and that's for fights where there's a lot of priority ads that come in and they need to die, and they die pretty quick. So you can throw Murder Crows on them, they die, and if you kill them fast enough, obviously the cooldown for Murder Crows resets, and you can throw it again. So it does have its use, but most of the time your go-to is going to be Stampede. You just have to think about the fight a little bit, and Blink Strides is kind of out of the question because most of the time you're not going to be running a pet, which I'll get to. For the 90 tier, Glaive Toss and Barrage are going to be your two. Quite simply put, Glaive Toss is going to be your single target, Barrage is going to be your multi-target. And it pretty much makes sense. I mean, it's kind of a general consensus too that Glaive Toss is your single target for, I think, the other two specs a little bit, not so much BM. But anyways, Glaive Toss, just use on cooldown, we'll get to that. Barrage is just amazing. Just be careful when you're pulling trash and stuff like that. For the last tier, I am not touching on the 4-piece for tier 18, at which point these talents get a little shaky, but I am doing it without the tier set. Lone Wolf will be your go-to. You can use Focusing Shot, because I mean it was a little bit easier somewhat to handle focus, but you can't move while casting, so it sucks. well, not really sucks, but it's not easy to intertwine into your rotation as steady shot. But Lone Wolf is going to be your go-to. Obviously, no pet, and hence why Spirit Bond is kind of out of the question too. Not even think about that before. But if you're on focusing shot, you can run Spirit Bond, but generally you're just going to run Ironhawk and then Lone Wolf because the pure damage bonus is immense. Jumping into the glyphs now. There's nothing too essential for major glyphs. I run disengage and just increase the distance, and deterrence, increase the damage reduction. Those are just, utility based ones. There's nothing really DPS wise that's going to change anything dramatically. Tranquilizing shot can be nice, maybe for fights like Council, where you want to spam Trank on like Gertog when he's fixating or something like that. Unless you handle it differently, if you bop the target, then it's different. But really, I just run these two, and then the third one I run pathfinding simply because with the minor glyph here, aspect of the cheetah, you can use cheetah mid-fight just for short times, and not get dazed, and this just increases that bonus just by another 8%. So nothing really big, nothing really impacting. If you do run focusing shot, animal bond is there. You definitely want to use that actually if you're using focusing shot, but that's more of a tier 18 set. So, but other than those three, that's really the only minor glyph that's going to be effective. So these are pretty fight based. If there's a little bit of utility in here, you see, just think about it, and you can change it up over. So those are the talents and the glyphs. Now I'm going to get into the basic rotation. So I will do both the single target and the multi-target. Only one talent going to be switched between those two. Uh, Pretty simple rotation. As I said before, there are times where, if you cast the wrong spell, that's like 2 seconds of downtime, so you really have to be thinking ahead where your focus is at and everything. But it's pretty basic. You're going to want to use Chimera Shot every time when it comes off cooldown. Be sure to have the focus when it comes off cooldown. And then after that, it's pretty much just dumping focus and recuperating focus. Your focus dumps generally going to be Glaive Toss on cooldown, and then your aim shot, which is 50 focus. It's a pretty big dump. So you're just Chimera Shot, Glaive Toss, dump focus with aim shot, recuperate with steady shot. Pretty simple. I'm just going to run through a little bit here. So there's Chimera Shot, Glaive Toss, and just watch your focus. So I'm casting aim shot there. Oop, I gained back with a crit. And now I have a Thrill of the Hunt proc. So then I had enough focus right when Chimera Shot came off cooldown that I used it. And I just keep going. These crits are ridiculous. Oh yeah, because the target dummy, it's always above 80%. So you won't have as many crits as normally, like a boss fight, but maybe early on in the fight. So the rotation is pretty basic, but you definitely don't want to like cast aim shot when your Chimera Shot is available, because that's a whole like 2 seconds where you could have had the Chimera Shot cooldown going. And so that one was a little bit, it wasn't so bad right there. So pretty easy to run. But it does have a little bit of special occasion and target selection, which I'll talk about after I get done with all the rotation. AoE wise, it's not too much different. Really, it's just that Barrage costs a lot more focus, so the focus dump is a little bit more solid. But, you just Chimera Shot, Barrage on cooldown, and then you just start recuperating focus. Yeah, I'll probably just pop these all the way until Chimera Shot here. Pretty easy. You just make sure don't use Barrage, and you'll be focus starved for Chimera Shot. I tend to do that every once in a while, but usually it lines up okay. So yeah, that's pretty basic. I'll switch back to single target here now, and I'm actually going to get into the. Oh wait, I almost forgot about it. Kill shot, but that's also going to be something that's more situational based, which I'll talk about later. But obviously, if your target is below 35% health, you can hit it, and if it doesn't die, you can hit it even again with Kill Shot. So you're probably going to want to use Chimera Shot before that, but Chimera Shot, and then if it's available, you Kill Shot, and then just go back to your focus dumping and recuperating. So now I'm going to switch back to single target and talk about, let's comment ends here, talk about the opening rotation. So in addition to, pre-potting, which is really helpful, make sure you do it, and focus. I have a focus misdirect here, or just misdirect, doesn't matter. I can put that in the description. It actually is pretty nice. If you know who's going to pull, you can just set them as focus one click instead of clicking, then clicking. But anyways, along with the typical intro stuff, you're going to want to pretty much pop all your instant casts, and then when you have enough focus pulled up, you're going to cast your rapid fire and any unused trinkets along with it. I have a macro for that as well, will be in the description. But you'll cast these instant casts and then pop your rapid fire and everything and start spamming aim shot. So basically, Stampede, right off the bat, Chimera Shot, Glaive Toss. When you use those, you'll be about 80, yeah, I think 80 focus, which is good enough to cast your rapid fire, your trinket, and start hitting aim shots. So I'll walk through it here. Even though you may have like a thrill of the hunt proc and aim shot is going crazy at the moment, and you're still in rapid fire, you probably still want to slip in Chimera Shot just to make sure the cooldown, because I think it's still going to hit harder, especially if it crits. So you probably want to keep going at that. But during rapid fire, you're not going to want to worry about glaive toss as much. Just keep dumping focus with aim shot. So I'll walk through it here. Uh, there it is there. Stampede, Chimera Shot, glaive toss, about 80 focus, and I cast my cooldowns and I start aim shotting. And you may have to cast some steady shots here and there if you run out of focus, but if you get a thrill of the hunt proc, pretty much it's going to be returning so much focus that you're not going to need to. So just keep going. Now it's run out, and now you just continue on with one normal rotation. Throughout the fight, just pull up focus. Just pull up the focus when your rapid fire and your trinkets are about to be available, and then similarly to your intro, if you have enough and your Chimera shots on cooldown, then just pop those and go with your aim shots again. If you don't hear at the beginning of the fight, you're definitely going to want to run your agility potion, your second agility potion, when you rapid fire your next time. So just be aware of that as well. But yeah, it's pretty easy to handle these. It's really your only cooldown. So your opener is going to be, oh man, it's crazy. Especially if you get throw the hunt procs, you get tons of aim shots, and you can open up bursting over 100k, and it's wonderful. But yep, that's the opener for single target. Again, to multi-target, it's really pretty much the same thing. I can't really run through it because, cooldown problems. But you're just going to Stampede, Chimera Shot, Barrage. And at this point, you're going to have a lot less than 80, so you're just going to have to throw a couple steady shots first. And then you're going to pop your rapid fire and everything and start spamming your aim shots. So like I said, it's pretty similar to single target. But there's the opener, and got combat. There's the opener and the general rotation. Now I'm going to get to a little bit of situational awareness. What I mean by this is there's two abilities that are really immense, and they change depending on the health of targets, and that is kill shot and aim shot. Kill shot, obviously, if something is 35% health or lower, and it jumps into your rotation and it kind of shakes things up a bit. When you have multiple targets, it sometimes is better to switch to a target that has low health, use your kill shots, and then go back to the priority target, like the boss or the ad, whatever's marked skull, whatever one you should be killing. Simply because, you kill those things off fast, more DPS overall, and you only waste like one global on it, so it's not too big of a deal. But you still want to make sure you throw your chimeras around as well. It's just something to be aware of. And then concerning aim shot, careful aim here. Oops, I need a spell book. Careful aim increases the crit of it by 50% when it's at 80% health or above. So this is another thing when like an ad comes in, even though you should be like pushing or focusing on the boss, you kind of just cleave the ad. You can still switch to it, throw maybe an aim shot, it's a heavy crit, get it down below 80%, and you can continue just to cleave off the boss with Chimera or Barrage or whatever you need to. So it's another thing to be aware of. It doesn't really shake up your rotation that much, just a little bit target swapping, so just something to be aware of. And that also affects it during rapid fire, that's why you want to spam aim shot. So, but yeah, that's the situational awareness I wanted to talk about, really. Pretty straightforward, just if you can throw a kill shot somewhere, change target for a sec, and then switch back just to finish things off and get some pretty big hits in. But that is basically all I need to run through, guys. At the end of this clip here, I'm going to throw in a video I recorded of a heroic Fell Reaver pull. We wiped, but it just gives you a better idea of like the opener and a little bit of rotation while dodging mechanics, stuff like that. So it may or may not be helpful. And if you watch it and you're like, oh hey, you did something wrong right there, then that's good because it's a good way to learn about it. You can learn from your mistakes and from other people's mistakes. So if you watch it, just get a little bit of taste for it. A little bit of target bombing. I'll show a little bit of me like swapping targets just to get that 80% health or more crits. So hopefully it's helpful, and I really hope this video helps you out, guys. And if you guys have any questions, you can catch me in game. I'm treading on Murden US, or you can post in the YouTube comments. I'll probably catch it. So I hope this guide helped you guys, and I'll catch you later.